Well, hello friends and fellow adventurers. Welcome back to another episode of Living the Grand Adventure. I'm Kevin, and today is a bright, beautiful, sunny day here in southeastern Ohio. And we're back at Vesuvius, looking to do the Lakeshore Trail, the full 8 miles today. Well, actually over the next 2 days, because we're going to camp out overnight. Hammock camp this time. And it's me, Jenny, and Alex, and we're here for the night. About a 3-hour drive, nice little trip down. Definitely excited for this trip. Got some dehydrated meals for tonight for dinner, tuna for lunch. Normal fare for us guys here. But we're going to hike in, get started. We're doing the trail counterclockwise this time. Going to hit it up. Going to try to get about 4 to 5 miles in, camp overnight, finish up the trail tomorrow, and see this beautiful landscape here at the lake. I hope you guys enjoy it. So, we'll see you on the trail, guys. So guys, we're heading in now. We'll try to do the next 4 to 5 miles in about 3 hours is what we're hoping for. It is a little bit later in the day, it's 3 o'clock. But like I said, we did have a 3-hour drive. And of course last night we were kind of late getting to bed, had a few extra things to do. Everybody worked yesterday. So, we're gonna get in here and knock out some mileage though. Very, very busy today. A lot of people on boats and kayaks and such. It looks like a lot of fishermen. But typical for midsummer here. But we're hiking. Where y'all going?
I know where I'm going.
We're going this way. Yeah, that's the way we went last year. I want to do it the other direction this year. Lakeshore backpack trail, guys. And here we go. Already much cooler. Yep. We're coming up to our first division. It's very simple. There's a campground to the left. We're not going that way. We're staying on the Lakeshore Trail. This up here is paid camping. Some nice sights from what I've seen. Yeah. Jenny's trying to get up the hill here. This is the first time that Alex and I have been out. Slow down, Lex. First time we've been out since Red River Gorge, which was about a month ago. Jenny, unfortunately, hasn't been out for about 2 months. A little bit of time constraint on her at work, big projects and such. But she's out today. Going to enjoy it. Take our time. Goes out to the campground. We're going this way. But yeah, so it's gonna be definitely fun to be out. This is a little bit easier trail, and we're not going to rush it because we basically do have the 2 full days. I mean, if we're 8 o'clock getting home tomorrow, I'm not stressing it. But this is the beginning of the trail. Looking forward to this. It's been on trail about 25-30 minutes. Butterflies everywhere. Really digging that. We've gotten a few pictures and some video of those. So but we're about 0.8 of a mile already in, so we're making pretty good time. You can tell it's a pretty easy trail. It's pretty flat for the most part. A few up and downs a little bit here and there, but nothing major. The worst was actually when you first walked in. And that was like, what, 25 feet? But if you can't tell over in the distance there, that's the beach area. We're actually going to walk past that here in a few minutes. It's at I believe about 1.25 miles, 1.33 miles in, so we've got about half a mile, and we should be walking past that. And then heading on north towards the back end of the park. And probably at about a 4 to 5 mile mark, 3 mile mark, depending on how we're feeling. Because today's just a chill day. We're probably gonna have more mileage tomorrow, but we're going to find us a campsite, get us some wood, because we're going to do a nice campfire tonight, something we haven't really got to do much this particular summer. And just kind of relax. This is a chill trip. We've got some trips coming up. But yeah, we're making it in here. We're having fun. Really nice weather. I mean, it's warm, but there's a definite nice little breeze. You can't see the leaves blowing and such. So that's pretty awesome. So guys, we're about a mile into it. All Trail says actually right at a mile. It's like 0.9 to a mile. We're coming up on the division. We'll go straight, babe. Up the hill there, the smaller hill. Yeah. But so we're coming up on it here. This is the division. So Lakeshore goes straight, and up the hill takes you out towards the backpacking loop, which is 16 miles. We're doing the Lakeshore today. I'm going to try to get that 7.7 miles in. But yeah, this is the little division part area here. We're going straight, like I said, that up smaller hill, and going on up there further away from the lake is the backpacking trail. So eventually I hope to do that. That's probably going to be something I'll probably want to do either, I'm thinking probably sometime like September, October, or fall of some year. Maybe not this year because I've got other plans, but maybe next year, just more as a leisurely outing, going up into the woods, backpacking. They do talk about, I mean, there are some bridle trails up there that it's actually a little bit harder to follow the trails because they're not quite as nicely marked as here. But I'm sure with a map, and of course All Trails have no problem with it. I've not had any problem with between All Trails, View Ranger, my trusty compass, and a map. I've been able to stay on any trail pretty much. Really, I think the only time I got turned around was that one time at Red River Gorge. We got turned around at, it was only like maybe a few hundred feet. And of course, the one time at Zaleski where the trail had fallen down the trail, we were having a hard time initially finding that trail because of the game trail that literally come off of it. But that was easily solved as well using a compass. So, I mean, when you lose like 300-400 feet and it's all overgrown, it's hard to see where a trail goes, but we were able to do it. But yeah, this is pretty flat still. We've probably got like roughly a third of a mile to the beach. Just trying to have a good time, relaxing, chill trip. Jenny was wanting to come out, so that's one reason we planned a little bit easier going trip for her, because she doesn't get to get out as much as us, and that way she can enjoy it. Jenny's got a new pair of shoes that she's dealing with. We actually just bought them. She's just basically trying to break them in a little bit here on trail. I mean, they're not hurting her none because they're a nice pair of shoes, but she's trying to get them situated the way she likes them, get them tight enough.
They keep coming untied and they keep getting loose, and I can't figure out how to keep the stupid shoelaces tied.
Yeah, so basically she needs to get the shoes broke in. Unfortunately, we were only able to get these shoes last night. I know she really should have had a week or two to break them in while at home, but this is a pretty easy trail, and like I said, this is chill. I mean, if we only get 2.5 miles in, if nothing else, we're doing in and out. I'd prefer to do the loop. That was the plan for this trip, but I don't want her to push it. Really pretty day. I mean, it's August, mid-August. You know, you're starting to get that slight fall feel like that you get towards mid-August, but I mean, it's still good and warm, still nice weather. So hopefully we'll have a good night. I think it's supposed to get down to about 62, so it shouldn't be cold. We should be quite comfortable. Well guys, we just passed the beach area. It's very crowded, so I really didn't want to record over there. It's probably a pretty nice little area probably to swim. If we'd have got here a little bit earlier, we'd thought about doing that ourselves, but it's okay. We're here to hike and have fun. We're going to swim next weekend at Indian Lake, so that'll be awesome. That's a good shot of where we've been so far. About a little over a mile and a half in. Did have to stop for a minute. Alex was coming along, and she actually got a bee down in her left boot that stung her twice. Probably a yellow jacket, is what we're figuring. So Lexi actually got stung twice on the front part of her ankle area, like the bend in her foot. Has two nasty little bumps there. So we put a little bit of alcohol on those, some sting relief type idea. And she's okay now. She's trekking along, being a little trooper. But I know that kind of sucked. She was walking along and kind of cried out in pain, and had the two big welts on her, under her sock. Somehow it got down into the front of her boot. It's about 4 o'clock, so we're gonna give it probably another hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how everybody feels, and see about finding us a campsite about that time. That way we got plenty of time to set up camp and look for firewood before we actually kind of hunker down for the night, guys. So as we see pretty interesting stuff on the trail here, we'll check back with you, and when we get to site, we'll take a look at what we're doing over in there. And this is us heading further into the northern end of the lake, where it'll probably become a little bit less crowded. Won't be as many people over in here, I don't believe. Get a little bit more secluded. That's gonna be pretty awesome. We've come up off the lake a little bit and up into a little bit more of a forest setting. We've passed a couple of actually camper-made sites, nice fire rings. The trees around it was a little bit small, and since we are hammock camping tonight, we decided to kind of move on, see if we can find something a little bit more conducive for our setup. We still got plenty of time of daylight, about 4 hours probably total of daylight. Sun doesn't go down to about 8:35. I think it actually said 8:31 on AccuWeather, so, and it's just now after 5 o'clock, so we've still got good 4 hours of daylight. So I figure as long as we find a site in the next hour, we'll have plenty of time to set up, get us some firewood, and even if it's coming up on dark when we do dinner, I'm kosher with that, because as long as we've got the firewood set up and we can get us a fire going tonight and just kind of relax and have a good time around the fire, that'll be awesome, because we haven't had a chance to do the fire too much this summer. We did it at Burr Oak, and that's about it. Like I said, this is more of a forest setting that we're hiking through. Definitely overgrown up in here, but when we first come up into this, it was about right at the 2 mile mark. Like I said, we're counterclockwise in the loop. There were within about 200 feet of each other, actually probably even closer, probably about 100 feet of each other, 2 well-maintained established sites that had stone fire pits and everything. They even had logs laid down for seats. So mark that on the trail, and they're visible actually from the trail itself. So like I said, mark that on your trail map and you'll be able to find them if you decide you want to come in to do Vesuvius. Definitely tell we're more up in the woods now. There's more bugs. getting on your face. Whereas down next to the lake, we didn't have quite as many. But they're a little bit more prevalent up in here. But definitely a nice little forest setting. It's gotten very quiet since we've gotten away from the beach and all the yelling kids over there. So it's gonna be a peaceful night. It's supposed to be completely clear with almost a full moon. So if we can find a nice spot that has an opening, we can actually see the stars tonight and everything. So that's gonna be awesome. A little clearing here. So, hey, I think we have a fire pit. Or, yeah, we got a little campsite right here, guys. What do you think? If y'all want to take a breather, I'll walk further down and see how close it is to the water, and I'm not going to go far. And I'll just see if I see another campsite might be better or closer to water, but we'll see. Somewhere's a little more open, but we're nowhere near water. So guys, we came in, we're at about 2 3/4, 2.8 roughly. Nice little clearing right off the trail. Trail's right over here, runs right down here beside where Lexi's sitting, and we happened upon a smaller campsite. Probably could definitely get 1 or 2 small backpacking tents in here. You could get some hammocks. The only drawback is right out this direction, there's a whole area that I believe in the spring and the wet season would be wet, but there's no water right now. It's dried up because it is mid-August. So unfortunately, we're going to have to hike on and kind of bypass this campsite and hope for something. We're hoping in the next half an hour, because it's coming up on 6 o'clock. It's about 10 to 6. So if we can get something by 6:30, we'll have 2.5 hours of daylight to get firewood and get set up, and that'll be more than ample time. But yeah, this would be a nice little site. You know, it has a couple of logs where you can sit, a stump right there. You could probably drag that log on over if you wanted. Then you've actually got these over here that Lexi was sitting on. Nice little area. You could definitely camp right here, but like I said, it's just too dry right now. So once again, we're hiking. Second trip in a row, evidence of a snake. It's a snake skin, guys. Crawled up here in the sun, kind of through these trees, and shed its skin, and it's not recent, but probably in the last few days. That's kind of neat. And it's literally, this is the trail right there. I don't see any evidence of the snake, so we're going to go ahead and make our way. We want to stop here for like 2 minutes and kind of get a little water break, but we're going to move on just in case it's around here. So we actually got to the northern end of the trail and crossed over to the east side and started southbound. There's a number of sites up that direction. That's north from where we're at right now. They were all full. I mean, literally there was, what'd you say, about 4 groups? 5 groups? So we started southbound hoping we'd find something. We've had a couple of close encounters of water. Now we're at a dry creek bed just kind of resting, and we're getting ready to do an elevation game because there's no more sites right through here. And if you can't tell, it's super, super overgrown. I thought about trying to clear a spot where we could have our own site, and there's just not really been anywhere conducive because it's so overgrown. So we're going to start up over here, do this elevation gain, and see. I looked at the map. It looks like once we get up over this, we'll be up there for a little bit, and then we'll come back down. We should be beside the lake again, and I'm hoping maybe somewhere through there, up on top of the ridge, we can make a site and then go down and get our water. You know, just down up over that hill there. Because we're starting to run a little bit low. We're both, I think they both have about 3/4 of a liter, and I'm probably at about 3/4. That's not going to suffice for tonight for what we've got to eat and drink. So, and it is like 7:10, so we're just over an hour and 20 minutes till sundown. So we're going to have to really see if we can find somewhere to go, guys. You know, I mean, there was, like I said, probably 6 sites up there, and there was at least 4 or 5 groups of people. Probably, I would probably say 5, 6 sites, 5, 6 groups, and they were all full. And like one group had a couple of dogs that were running loose. They were puppies, but they were running loose. So we're gonna go on, see what we can do, guys. Well, guys, we came down through here. We were actually on the other side going towards me, away from the camera here. This is all broken off and blocking up the trail. You had to climb up that and then come down this ravine like Jenny's doing. That was rough. It's taken us about 10 to 15 minutes, just this one 25 feet. With all this come down. I'd say it looks like we had two of those 2 trees come down. They cut those out, but then the rest of this has fallen recently and they haven't been up here to cut it out yet. And that was pretty dangerous coming down that gully. A little rough, but we got down it.
Yeah, that was probably one of the harder things I've done, where you had to climb over a freaking tree.
But yeah, we got down with no injuries, so hopefully we're going to find sight shortly. It's like 7:30. So we're still hiking here. We're coming up on the 6 mile mark. It's like 5 3/4 right now where we're at. It's 8:15. The sun goes down in 15 minutes. We've seen multiple campsites. They're all full. Now, we did debate going up and clearing a section and making our own campsite. But with the way it's overgrown, it's August, you know, leave no trace. We didn't really want to tear up a section of the forest. And there hasn't been too many areas where it's just been clear enough where you could do that and it be conducive to like do a fire or even set up, you know, hammocks. So, like I said, we're at 5 3/4. If we don't find something probably in the next 30 minutes, it's going to start getting dark on us. We're going to rip our headlights out. And I think we made the determination. We're just going to pretend this is a day hike, skip the overnight, get back to the car, head over to McDonald's, get a bite to eat, and head home. I mean, it's been frustrating that every single site that we've hit has been full. I mean, we actually come up, the last one we come up, there was like 4 tents and 3 hammocks, and they had a big fire going. I was like, God, that sucks. And like I said, I mean, if you notice, I mean, we could go up in there, probably find a flat spot, clear it off, which would take a little bit of work. I mean, I would be willing to do that. I just don't want to tear the forest up. It's not something that I'm into. We may make the determination just to turn this into a conditioning day hike, which I'm fully comfortable with. I like camping, but also, you know, it'd be kind of neat. And Jenny does have to work Monday. So getting her home on Saturday night after 8 miles hiked, which she's actually getting ready to come up on her new total. Actually, to be honest, we may actually have just crossed that, because she had 5.3 miles at Zaleski, and we are at 5.4 miles. Jenny's new record, guys. So she's kind of happy. I seen a little smile there. She's feeling it. She's tired. She's hot, a little thirsty, but that did make her smile. So hey, I got her to smile this trip at least a little bit. This side's been kind of hard going because there's actually been 4 or 5 large down trees that we've had to go up around. And of course, you saw that section back there where, you know, there was multiple trees that had fallen. That was really hard. And that, like I said, took us between 10 and 15 minutes for all of us to go around. Lexi and I are actually sharing trekking poles right now during the hard areas. You know, I'm going through, then kind of tossing my poles to her or handing them up to her or down to her, whatever we're doing. Yeah, we're back down into this where you see all the lily pads. Honestly, right over there, right over in here, is where those lily pads break out and the lake actually opens back up where there's not as much lily pads, debris, and overgrowth. So, if nothing else, we can filter water. We're thinking about maybe taking a 10-minute break, filtering water real quick. We actually do have a lunch that we kind of brought extra for us. That way, if we wanted to use it tomorrow, it was just there. Just tuna and cheese. We may break that out, snack on that real quick for 10-15 minutes, kick our shoes off just enough to kind of get a breather and head to the car. I think that's what we're going to do. Because I really don't want to have to be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, dark, setting up again. It's just, I don't think it's going to be worth it. Because you figure by the time we get set up, then we'd have to do dinner. It'd be 1 o'clock in the morning. Literally laying down and getting up at 8, 9 in the morning, hiking back out 2 miles and going home. I mean, I don't think it'd be worth it. I mean, to me, you know, just going on home tonight, we'd be home by 1 o'clock. I think that makes more sense. Oh,
geese?
I heard some geese. So, but we're going to continue on the trail here. I'm going to try to video as much as I can before it does get dark on us, because I think we're going to be doing a little bit of night hiking to getting out of here, but we actually night hiked in the other direction on this portion of the trail once we get over here to the 6 mile marker. So that's pretty cool. Okay, they voted they're going to take a 5-minute break right here. Burning a little bit more daylight. May have to get our headlamps out and just go and get them on so if it starts getting dark on us.
Celebratory rest.
Celebratory rest. Jenny at 5.5 miles now, probably. Definitely over 5.4. So, yeah, if you can tell, that sun is slowly fading back behind the mountains there. We're at about 5.7 miles, 5.6, that ballpark. I did do a little bit of backtracking with the all trails, so I'm giving it like 0.2 of a mile, and that's about all I've been off trail this particular trip. So, like I said, 5.6, 5.7 miles. And that means we have roughly 2 miles to the car, maybe 2.25, depending on, because we are at the very far end of the parking lot as well. And if you can't tell, it's starting to get a little dark on us. Sundown 8:31, it's 8:32, guys. So we have maybe a good 25 minutes of daylight, but we do have our headlamps out, ready to rock and roll. We know once we get past the 6 mile marker, about 1/10 of a mile from there, there is definitively an area where we can filter water. And there's actually a nice sized bench where we can sit. We're going to stop, get a little snack in our bodies, because we haven't ate since, what did we eat, 11 o'clock this morning, guys?
Yeah.
And like I said, it's after 8, so it's been 9 hours since we ate really anything. Jenny had a handful of trail mix when we stopped at that one campsite a while back. I don't even know if you guys can see me very well. I'm hoping there's still enough a little bit light. Probably should be recording this on my Samsung. It has better light quality, but we're going to give this a shot and see what it looks like. But yeah, we're heading up. The trail isn't too bad now. It seems to be leveling off. We get a few up and downs. It's not as rooty. I mean, there are still some roots, but not quite as bad as the northern end of the park. And for the most part, we have yet to see any more sites. Consequently, we haven't seen any other people. I really seriously think most of the sites in the park are actually filled up, and without making your own and destroying the actual forest, you're not going to get anything right now. If we get up in here and we get really I fell. Trail giveaway, guys. So if we would happen to get up in here and we just get to the point where we're too calorie deficient and just too tired and saying, we're done. If we can find a campsite towards the beginning of the trail, we'll take it and have like a mile hike out. But I'm kind of thinking, like I told them, I mean, really, by the time we find a site, at the most we'll be an hour away from the car. I would take an hour of night hiking, like I said, especially considering that last half a mile or so is boardwalk. There you go, there's some little bit of daylight. Still lily pads everywhere, guys. But like I said, I would take an hour of night hiking to get back to the car versus an hour of setup. Then we've got to cook dinner, and then basically we go to bed and get right back up and go right back out the park tomorrow. It just wouldn't really be as much fun as what we planned. Where we were hoping to be at site, I mean, if we could have been at site 6:30, like when we started seeing some of the sites at the north end of the park, some of those would have been open. We could have built a fire, relaxed, had a good dinner, enjoyed ourselves. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So I think we've kind of made the determinations. Yeah, especially once we can sit down, get a little snack in our systems and feel better. I think we're going to say, yeah, we're done for the day. Let's get back out to the car, call it a late day, early night hike, which, you know, a lot of people do that. They make the determination, we're close enough to the car, let's just go home. It's not about the camping, really, it's about the hiking. I like the camping too, but this trip, you know, I really just wanted to do the backpack loop anyway and kind of check it off my list. And I figure the next time I come out, I'm thinking about maybe next spring, pulling a little weekend trip like this, trying to get out here a little bit earlier. Maybe not even hike the whole loop, just find a nice little site a couple miles in, enjoy the weather, enjoy the lake, and camp. So that might be something we do going forward. Do that and actually do some bushcraft. That'd be kind of fun. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here. The trail's getting a little bit more rugged up and down, so I don't want to slip and fall as it's starting to get dark. So we finally made it over here a little bit past our original campsite from last year. We've got about a 1.2 mile hike to the car. It's just about 10 o'clock, so not too bad. Been hiking 7 hours, a little over, about right at 7 miles. So actually we've been hiking 6 hours 13 minutes if you don't count some of the stops and stuff, so because that's what All Trail says, so that's not too bad. But we're sitting here, got the lake in front of us, just sitting on a little bench right over here. I filtered water off the water. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna have to switch it around here in a minute and see if I can show you what we filtered. But it's a real pretty night, real comfortable. Stars are out, moon's out. It's really pretty. We actually have a view of the beach area from where we're sitting. Not that you can see it much, but they do have a couple lights on over there, just to kind of eliminate it, I guess, for security purposes. But yeah, and then the moon is like almost full. It'll be full Wednesday and today's Saturday, so it's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, we didn't get to camp tonight, but we've had fun, so we're all getting some electrolytes in us, getting filtered up on that, and then we're gonna get this next mile and a half. It's like 1.3 miles, I believe, roughly. Get that hiked up out of here, and we're going to get home, guys. But I figure I'll tell you that. I'll show you what we did as far as where we're sitting and, you know, what everything looks like real quick here in a minute. And then we'll get back on the trail and get on out of here. So, guys, this is kind of where we filtered water. I just kind of stepped over there, got a little bit of water. Filtered what? I filtered 3 liters.
Yeah.
Basically enough for each one of us to have a liter of electrolyte water. No, I did filter 4, that's right. But enough for us to each have an electrolyte water, liter of it, and then one for Lexi to finish carrying out as we head out. And of course the trail's right over here. And this is the bench I was mentioning where we all just kind of sit here. We've been here for about 15-20 minutes. But we're going to head out this way. Like I said, we have about 1.2 miles out this direction. I'll probably be able to get a lot more video shortly because we'll be out on that boardwalk at the end of the hike. And I think it's lit up a little bit as we head out, so that'd be kind of neat. Alright guys, so here we are, exiting the forest and coming out to the dam. Not that you could see much, but this is where we're at, guys. Let's see if I can get a little shot down here. I don't know with the lighting. But yeah, so made it to the dam. And now we're gonna make it out through this boardwalk here. And we're about a 1/10 of a mile from the car. Longest mile is definitely for Jenny. And here lately, pretty much about average for me and Alex. Not quite our longest, but I think I actually put in more steps for the day but definitely the longest for Jenny. Yeah, took the boardwalk. Here we go. Yay. Electric light. Look at the moon, guys. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Yeah, making it out here. I actually see cars going through the park. So that's pretty awesome that we're coming out. Got the moon up there in the sky. And that's actually to the right of it on your screen. That's actually Jupiter. So that's pretty awesome in the night sky. It's very, very clear here. Let's see. I don't know what the camera is actually picking up, but we're going to kind of look at the sky for a second. Wow, it's beautiful. Lots of stars. Definitely see the moon though. And like I said, that's Jupiter to the right of it. It's really kind of messing up the focus a little bit, but you get an idea. Jenny and Lexi up in front of me. They're ready to get out of here. Yeah, definitely not exactly what we planned on doing this trip, but still we had a pretty good blast. Not quite out yet, so I'll get you a final total on our mileage and time, but it's probably going to be close to 6.5 hours and probably about 8 miles. So that's not too bad considering we did stop and I filmed a little bit. And there was a couple of side times that I was trying to find us a campsite, but just never could do it. It's the actual camp area, or the area where they do the kayaks and stuff. There's like a little store there where you can rent a kayak, and I think they've got paddle boats and such. The car is actually out there at the end of that parking lot, so that's gonna be kind of neat. And literally, it's just we walked across the dam now. We're gonna take a left over here, finish up the dam walking, and get on this boardwalk, which is the last 0.05 of a mile before we get to that parking lot. Well, fellow adventurers, we finished up the trail. I got the final count. I did roughly 8.6 miles. That is with some backtracking, looking for sites, going off trail a little bit, looking for water. Altogether, the trail, like I said, is roughly 8 miles. We completed it. Trail time was just over 7 hours. Actual hike time was 6. So it's not too bad. A little bit slower. Like I said, Jenny, of course, is not as conditioned with us, so we kind of took it a little bit slower with her, and that's perfectly fine. We had fun. We enjoyed the trail. A couple of things. I mean, I've been to Vesuvius a couple of times. The first 2 miles in on either side, fairly easy, not too bad. When you get towards the back of the park, it gets a little bit rougher. And I would definitely say probably in the spring months, the wetter months, it would be really muddy, really wet back in there, so be warned. Also, if you're coming in to hike and backpack and you want to camp, if you're coming in on a Saturday in the summer, I would recommend coming early or even coming in Friday because, like I said, I mean, pretty much any site we saw, there was like 6 or 7 groups up in there that we saw. So coming down the east side, there was actually 4 or 5 groups we saw. Anywhere there was a campsite established, there was a group of people camping. So it is interesting though. I did check out my Samsung, like I told you before in previous videos, that it does count steps and stuff. On this video, I'm probably gonna break 30,000 steps for the day. So that's pretty awesome. First time I've ever done that. Most I've had up until this point was at Trend Creek. That's Saturday when I was there. I think I got 28,000. So I'm actually breaking 30,000 today. Pretty awesome. Another trail down. I will definitely come back to here. I may not do the whole loop, or I may do it again. I don't know. Depends on who's with me, who wants to come out with me, whatever. But I'd like to come in either mid-fall, mid-spring, when there's not as much foliage, and you can make a campsite wherever you want without disturbing too much. Like I said, I mean, we could have probably made a campsite. I just didn't want to disturb all the foliage and make a mess of the place. So, but like I said, a little over 8 miles today. Jenny's new best for sure. About average for me and Lexi. For the night, guys, this is Kevin. Jenny's in the car and Lexi's in the car. They're kind of just chilling and talking. We're at the parking lot here at the boat dock here at Lake Vesuvius. Another trail down, guys. 8 miles for the day. So, for living the grand adventure, guys, always remember to live your grand adventure to the fullest. We'll see you on the trail next time, guys.